Yo, what's popping? The Summer Showdown has been pretty set on what people are playing. There's a Junker Queen, a Genji, a Brig, and a Lucio, but that fifth slot is being contested highly right now between Ashe and Sojourn. We see some top teams right now, like the Toronto Defiant, enjoying the Ashe a lot more. Yes, Heesu is still going on the Sojourn sometimes, but largely Ashe. Whereas you see other top teams like the Dallas Fuel and the San Francisco Shock playing the Sojourn more often. So I want to talk about the key benefits and drawbacks of these character selections and which I think is better under different circumstances. So to me, there are four main differences between the characters right now. Pick potential, effective range, Bob versus Overclock as an ultimate, and Dynamite versus Disruptor field as AoE damage over time abilities, but that's basically where the similarities stop with those two abilities. Very different values and very different usages in this meta. So first I want to take a look at pick potential, right? Obviously, Sojourn Railgun, it one-taps. That's the whole point of Sojourn. She has a one-shot ability. And she can use her slide to get into a better position to find a way to hit those shots, whether it be using the slide to chase kills and being aggressive, going into enemies, or using them to maybe be in an aggressive situation, but then get pressured and back off. So in this clip, we see Heesu on the Ashe against Happy on the Sojourn, right? So Heesu's doing his thing, right? He's getting good chip immediately, because that's what you don't have to charge up the rail. So you have that immediate threat. And then you'll notice Happy taking a pretty aggressive positioning, considering Hoppa is literally 2 steps away from him on this staircase. So he's going to be able to get Heesu down low. And then Heesu peeks a little too far to the right, out of cover, and dies to the railgun. So if Happy was on Ashe, there's a chance he still dies, because he's below 150 HP. So if he's below 150 HP, an Ashe headshot would still kill. However, Happy immediately is gone. You see him jump up right above this fire truck. I don't know if you can see my mouse. No, you can't. I don't think. So, whatever. But he's up on that fire truck to the right of Aldo. So he got out of there immediately because Hoppa, as we can see through this wall, pressures him out. If he's on Ashe, he's dead, and that's just a trade. That's not a net win. And then you'll see, because the power slide comes up so fast, he's able to again move up. Well, he's not really in a position right now, but he's able to escape Aldo, right? Take that wide angle. If he's on Ashe, once again, he is dead to Aldo right here. Even though that kill doesn't change the tide of this fight, because it's already won, he's able to just slide away from Aldo, and Aldo gets no value. Maybe Toronto would have been able to come back faster and get a recontest if Happy dies here, yeah. But it doesn't happen, right? So that's one example of how the pick potential is better for Sojourn. Another example here is Merit playing very aggro right now. This is in the middle of a fight, but look where he's standing. He is on the floor, directly beside a Genji, directly beside a Funny Astro on the Lucio. He goes over, he picks Funny Astro instantly. Now, if he's on Ashe, he has to hit 2 shots there. His movement speed is lowered because he scoped, and that's a 25% movement debuff. And maybe he doesn't even kill him because you have to hit 2 shots. So he also has a slide available. He now can slide in on to Ons, who is on Ashe, because this is before they had Happy. And now he's back to safety. So he's taking aggressive positioning because he has slide available. He's able to kill someone in a small window of opportunity because he only needs to hit the 1 shot. And that's it. So that's another example how Sojourn has better pick potential right now. But this doesn't mean Ashe has low pick potential. She still has high pick potential in this meta overall because, 150 damage to the head instantly is pretty good. So an example of this, right, is going to be Ons once again. Still a Gladiator, still the same match. Or I guess the other one was Toronto, but it's still a Gladiators. Right here, instantly, he is able to pick Pelican. Pelican getting a little greedy. I don't know if he doesn't have Deflect or what it is. Also, I am stealing Custa's POV because he has a replay viewer available. My bad, Custa. But if I had replay viewer, I wouldn't. That's how it goes. So he's able to get that pick. He's able to get this pick, 3 shots to the head, or 3 shots in some order to Lep, and he gets the Bob on the point. Right there, that's 2 picks that Sojourn probably couldn't have gotten because you have to charge up the rail on Pelican. Maybe he kills you before you get that rail off. It is at 0. It does take more time, right? He maybe wouldn't have been able to get it, depending on Deflect or not. And that one on Lep, he probably would have been able to get, depending on if he used the railgun shot off on Pelican or not. There's a chance he gets that too. But right now, Ashe has that instant lethality, right? He's able to get those 2 picks and get the Bob on the point, which I'll talk more about Bob later, but this is a pretty damn good Bob, because without this Bob, it's not a win for Gladiators right now. It forces the flip. Well, maybe it is, because they still have to run the point. But anyway, that's not the point. So that's some key pick potential differences right now between Sojourn and Ashe. Another thing I want to talk about is the effective range of these characters and the vulnerability that comes with it. This is fast forwarded a little too much, I think. Oh, is this the wrong clip? Oh, hold up. Okay, never mind. It was the right clip. It was just like 2 seconds off. So anyway, here we see the effective range in action. Even though Sojourn Rail has no fall off, right? She still takes time to charge up the shot. Okay, this is actually not in action. This is I lied again. But anyway, this is still a key point. So the effective range is Ashe has better effective range. And this is because Sojourn needs to charge up the railgun, which has unlimited range. But it takes time to charge it up. At a further range away, because her primary fire is a projectile, it is harder to build it up in time. However, she is better at closer ranges because of the power slide and because she doesn't have that 25% movement penalty that I mentioned earlier when Ashe is scoped in, which is how she gets most of her kills. So once an enemy gets on top of the Ashe, she's dead. However, with Sojourn, the effective range is much lower. Like, kill there, Merit slides in, gets that kill, and he's sitting on top of the enemy right now. He's able to get this health back, and he just lives for so long. Disruptor field comes out, doesn't really do anything in this case, and gets enough damage off that Lep is able to kill Reiner. So basically, this is showing that Ashe at that range is nowhere near as good as what Merit just did on the Sojourn. The sliding in, the shots up close, it's just Ashe can't do it. Only Sojourn can do that. The problem with having the other point that I mentioned about how it's harder to charge up the rail shots, spectators don't tend to spectate Sojourns that aren't hitting anything, because why would you do that? So it's very hard. It's more difficult to find a clip like that. I probably could have if I looked for a long time. But I do have a clip at the very end that kind of summarizes everything, that does showcase that a little bit. So if you stay around till then, you'll see that in action. But this is an example of sliding into 4 and the effective range being better for Sojourn at close range. Another example that is going to be like the anti-highlight of this is we have Pelican is going to dash onto Ons here, and he gets his blade off, and he uses dash. So right now, if Ons is on Sojourn, he slides away directly behind him, and he doesn't live, maybe, because if he was on the Sojourn, perhaps Pelican wouldn't have committed the dash that early and would have chased after. But regardless, this kill happens later or at a different location. Now, this fight still goes the way of the gladiators. A little bit of a spoiler there. Because the clip that I showed earlier of Ons coming back and killing people, I believe happens. No, maybe it doesn't happen. I don't know what happens here. Anyway. Whatever. So, the point there is, Sojourn lives, and maybe Brig is able to get a boop off here, because Skewed has to back away even more, leave stuff like that. If this was to translate into a fight win, the Sojourn could have made a big difference. But now I'm going to talk about Bob versus Overclock. So Bob is sometimes very impactful, and other times not as impactful, right? The amount of passive healing that is just around makes him less impactful because you don't have to commit resources to him every time. The Brigitte healing and the Lucio aura just they do enough healing that you don't have to commit more things onto Bob sometimes. You can get an LOS, you can do things like that. Whereas if they were on an Ana, for example, you would have to shoot the guy. Like, you have to input that healing. And it's taking healing away from someone else. It takes less healing away in this composition just because of how much AoE healing there is. And there's also shout and things like that. But that doesn't mean that Bob isn't good at pressuring objectives or forcing other resources, creating more space, denying space, things like that. Bob is still very good at that. But it's not entirely there. So here's a pretty good Bob from Ons, right? You see the Bob go in on the corner. And right there, he's taking up all that space. So you see Dante, Lastro, and then the back line goes back up more. So Dante's just going to get pummeled this whole time. He probably gets some packs, and he leaves the LOS of the Bob as Kevster goes in with Blade. So now Bob's targeted Lastro. Well, Lastro doesn't want to be targeted by Bob, so he backs up also, right? And you also notice this whole time, Merit, for about 3 seconds straight, 3-4 seconds, has just been shooting Bob. So that's taking away time from Merit to go find picks, to do anything like that. He's just shooting the Bob and killing it, which is a good play. You kind of have to kill that Bob. It's right on the point. It's like a last fight situation. That Bob needs to die as soon as possible. Merit gets that. However, the backline is split because of a mix of a Dynamite that you can see the particles maybe. I don't know if you can see them. But there are particles there from Ons just hitting a Dynamite, and Kevster has bladed. So this has made the backline back up even more, but Dante uses this as an opportunity to walk forward, right? So Dante is moved in with Pelican, whereas the backline is kind of disconjointed, is way back there. They're falling off the edge, but there's still a pretty damn large radius. I don't even think he'd be in Lucio amp right now. So that's why that's far away. So anyway, what Bob has done here, it's a good Bob. It's made some space, but it has died early, but it's still made space and taken value away from Houston Outlaws. This actually will translate into the clip, the very first, or the second clip I showed, where Merritt's able to kill Funny Astro. But yeah, so that's a good Bob. It zones out, and that's it. So here's another clip with Bobs, but this is going to be the infamous Ons alone on the payload clip. That is just, it goes hard. So the fight breaks out. Merritt is looking for Bob. He builds it, and he sends it into the back line. Boom. It goes in a second. He's reloading. Boom. It goes in. So let's rate this Bob for a second. We'll see this overview. Ons also kills Pelican. So here it is. So what is this Bob doing? It's not pressuring point. It's nowhere near point. There is Ons onto the right there. That's what he's currently shooting at. And you see Kevster up in the shuttle, and then the core of the team is on the left. That's where they want to be anyway. So they're not as affected. I guess you can say, well, Reiner is going to take some chip from it. Yeah, and it kind of stops Ons from getting angles. But overall, this Bob is pretty not great. Like, it's not that great. If it was more to the right, it'd be better. If it was on the point, it'd be better. If it was on the forklift to the right of the screen, it would be better. But right now, it's going to do some damage. It's going to get some good damage off, but that's it, and it goes away. And then we notice, well, the backline has just killed Reiner and Skewed, so this is looking pretty damn bad for the Gladiators. Kevster's able to clutch up, right? Get his 2. He gets his. Ons has bobbed onto the point. Right here, he bobs onto the point. Sends up the guys, they're there. However, Kevster will go down after doing a ton of damage. Ons able to get a kill, and now it's just Bob cleaning up. This is a damn good Bob. This Bob isn't out. You don't get the knockup that helps Kevster kill the guys initially with the blade. You don't get those 2 final kills. You don't get as much point pressure. Bob has done the Lord's work right here. So we just saw a pretty bad Bob against an exceptional Bob. That's like one of the best Bobs you can get. I don't know how you can improve on that. That's what Bob has. Now, you can think about Overclock. Let's go over to the other side here. Overclock. What has Overclock got? Well, Overclock can just win fights, right? You kill 2 people, the fight's probably gone. So this is going to be Kai against Paris Eternal, right? Kai's that guy. Overclock kills Dove. He's just going to walk in, and he's going to kill Rack 2. And this fight's done. This is a wrap. There are so many good examples of Overclocks that just win fights because players like Kai will get them. However, this, I don't know if anyone else has thought of it like this, but to me, Overclock is similar to Pulse Bomb. It's not quite the same because it will always apply some pressure, right? Pulse Bomb, you whiff it, it's done, it's useless. Overclock will always at least apply pressure for, I believe, 6 seconds it lasts, or 10, somewhere from 6 to 10 seconds. And it will always apply pressure and force some sort of response. But there are times, even Kai, even in this specific match, he just pops the Overclock and he can just die because the enemy Ashe and enemy Sojourn can also just kill you, right? To me, it's like, it's a good ultimate. It's important to have it, and you have to think about having it, and if the enemy has it and all that. But you're not going to base your entire fight hinging on this one ultimate more often than not. It can win you the fight, but you don't. If you have to plan for the ultimate to win, for Overclock to win, that's not ideal, right? So I don't know if anyone else has thought of it like that. That's what it feels like to me. Let me know if you disagree, of course. But that's kind of what the vibe I get. And there's so many clips you can find. The Merit 3K collab comes to mind again from last stage, things like that. But that's just a quick example of, 2K wins. It's just Sojourn, but with less drawback. The drawback of Sojourn having to charge the rail, it's gone. That's all, right? It takes away her flaw as a character for a few seconds. So now I want to talk about the main reason Ashe is played. This is why Ashe is good. Not because of the lethality early, not because of the more consistent damage. It's because, well, I guess this is in part how it helps the more consistent damage, but the Dynamite usage. So this is the Toronto Defiant spawn holding the Gladiators for 4 minutes. It's already a minute in because the Gladiators were doing some weird rotations, right? But this is like the core of the spawn hold. Heesu is the reason the spawn hold is able to happen. And this is, so there's the MN3 Ashe clip, right? Last stage where he goes crazy mechanically. This is like the smart man MN3 clip where the Dynamite controls the pace of this fight, controls all the engagement. Heesu is the master hand behind everyone. These are all just, this is Heesu's game, and these are the playing pieces, right? So you'll see right here, they're walking up this choke. A minute in, Dynamite comes out. What does this do? Immediately, it's going to force Shout, basically, right away. And what does this mean? Well, it means Gladiators can't engage anymore until it comes back, basically, because Hoppa, who's also going to use his Shout, has the advantage right now. Their Shout is gone. Defiant are able to walk in and stop Gladiators from walking in as well. There aren't any actual kills coming from this, but that's not the goal here. They don't need to kill the Gladiators. They just need to stop them from walking. They're in their spawn. Going for kills and trading would be a negative, right? And so this is going to be keeping on what's happening. So every time Heesu is able to hit a Dynamite, maybe it doesn't get out Shout. I don't believe this next one gets out Shout. No, so it's right here. No Shout comes out. But Happy immediately. Oh, it does actually force the Shout because the dash comes out. So this does force the Shout and as well stops Gladiators from being able to push. So the argument for this is, well, Happy could still just walk up right here. If he kills Twilight right now, if he hits his button and it aims a little bit lower, Twilight's dead and the spawn hole probably breaks. That's what Sojourn does. If he goes for Heesu instead, I guess he's that scared of Heesu. That's kind of telling you how much they're valuing killing Heesu right now. He literally moves his crosshair basically off of the open Brigida headshot and then looks at Heesu. But the amount of space he has to do that is so small. And Heesu is really dictating this fight through and through. So it's going to start breaking down a bit because we've been here for like 2 cycles of a Dynamite. Here's another one that comes out. I don't know if this one forces anything. Doesn't look like it does. He'll end up Roberting, and it kind of devolves a little bit. But Heesu was the real determiner of this fight, right? He was the one setting everything up. He was the one forcing the resources. And of course, although helps, you can't just have an AFK Genji, right? The dashes were very important to forcing Shout and things like that. But this is what Ashe brings as a character that makes her so strong in situations like these, where Kevster can't really go on to him, because if Kevster tries to flank around the side, Twilight's watching that, Heesu's back a little bit, commit a dash to him, it just doesn't look great. That's not a favorable fight for Kevster to take. So this is where Ashe really thrives. And this has been like, if anyone ever wonders why would you play Ashe instead, this is like the clip I would show anyone. This is the key. So now that I've talked about that, I'll talk a little bit about Disruptor Shot, because that's the other AoE damage over time ability we have right now. So this is going to be the Dallas Philly against the Boston Uprising. Finally, not the Gladiators. We'll see that Dallas is holding the point right now, and they have Sparkle on May. So Boston are trying to walk in. So Victoria is going to place his Disruptor Shot here. Now, Disruptor Shot can oftentimes feel like fire and forget, right? You just throw it at the enemy, and you hope for some damage. It can do more than that. It can be used to zone. It can be used to stop rotations, like in this case. And it can be even used to try and live against the dive, like say a Genji was to dive you. So I'll have a few different situations here. And this one, right, if this Disruptor Shot doesn't go, it also helps force the ice block. He also did some chip damage, right? But right now, Dallas would probably run through that room if that Disruptor Shot wasn't there. And they're going to, right? You see Valentine dive Edison. You see another good case of if that was an Ashe would have been dead, probably. So he's going to turn around briefly. What do we see when he turns around? We see Dallas doing that rotation that they couldn't do before because of the Disruptor Shot. And you see Mag in Nom for no reason. He should be with MCD right now, and he's the reason that that Disruptor Shot didn't get the value it should have, right? You turn around, you see the May wall up. That's that. But that's like showing you why Disruptor Shot can be used more than just fire and forget. And maybe it was just fire and forget, and he just knows that instinctively, which I wouldn't doubt either, right? That's just a top player thinking, oh, I'm going to put it here where they're trying to walk, right? It's not too big brain when you think about it. Another example here of Disruptor Shot, you're going to see Sparkle. He goes in, he dives, he slides away, commits the dash, he gets the other dash out, and he gets booped up by MCD. Why is this bad? Because the Disruptor Shot is where he would have landed. He would have taken more damage, he would have been slower to get to Victoria, and there's a chance he dies. Instead, he's going to basically land on top of Victoria and be able to get the kill. So you can see the vision there. It didn't come through, but you can see the vision here of he lands in this Disruptor Shot, he takes some chip damage, he gets slowed down, maybe he dies to Fielder, who knows what happens, he gets booped away better. Whatever, or not Fielder, MCD. And that's the vision, right? You can very clearly see that's a possibility that would have happened. Now, there's also a possibility he would have been able to get out and still get the kill, but we don't know that, right? And then another one, the final one I'm going to show about the Disruptor shot before I show the big overarching, like, Sojourn. This is not peak Sojourn, but the pinnacle of Sojourn gameplay, which is maybe different. The core, I would say, is we're going to see another example. Valentine pulls the blade here. He goes on to Edison. Edison people leaves. He's gone, right? Ashe dies there. Once again, Ashe is dead right there. Maybe Ashe is in position there, but then maybe Victoria can't get the same bullets he would have. He can't get the same angles he was trying to hit to get the pick, right? To get a pick. He's still going to die to Victoria, but that's how it is. So then also, we're going to see Victoria make a play. He's going to, again, evade this Genji dash, and he's going to place his Disruptor field on himself. Sparkle can't stand in this. He'll die because he has to sheath his blade. That was hard to say for a second. So Victoria almost kills him, 23 HP. This particular fight, this particular duel doesn't matter because, all of Boston's already dead. But let's say this is a situation that's playing out in the middle of a real fight, or not, this isn't a fake fight, but in the middle of a fight, and the impact matters. The decision of this duel matters. You can see how this Disruptor field would have been like fight winning potentially. And Sojourns are doing this every time there's a Genji coming on. I just looked for a handful of games, right? This is the kind of stuff that Disruptor field is able to do. Dynamite doesn't do that. They do two completely different things. They both have the same fundamental damage over time AoE ability. So Disruptor shot isn't useless. It is an important part of Sojourn's kit, but it's not the reason she's being played, obviously. So now, the final point I want to say, I don't know why I put this away, is Aspire versus Heesu here. So, once again, a rip from Custa because that's where you see the best gameplay I want to see right now. We'll see Vancouver Titans come out of this little area, the indoor area. So, what does that mean? It means that Aspire does not have any charge. He can't. He wasn't shooting anyone. How could he have any? Heesu is lethal right away, right? Able to pick Aspire out. Boom, gone. So we fast forward a bit. Heesu dies while standing still trying to hit a Dynamite. Dead. That wasn't the fully charged shot, I don't think. I think he got some poke and then he got hit. But what this means is Toronto Defiant have to back up. If Heesu was alive right now, Aspire would not be able to just walk up like this. He'd get hit down by Aspire, gunned down, because he would be sitting there, and Aspire can't really threaten back, right? He doesn't have the railgun active. So Toronto are forced to back up. Aspire is able to walk in, slowly build his charge. This is taking a long time to build the charge, right? They're hiding from him. But once he has the charge, boom, headshot. And he's dead. What's he going to do next? He's going to drop down to the Disruptor field, just stops Twilight from running in with the rally. He's not going to run through that. This stops Hoppa from leaving as well. So he split the core of Defiant right now. He slides away from the Junker Queen. And he's still doing damage. Gonna get a key kill here in a moment after he's just shooting guys because, of course he is. Oh, I didn't even talk about the bob on the point. Yes, Heesu is bobbed right here. Heesu has bobbed onto the point. What does this bob do? Well, that whole side of the point is gone. Aspire can't walk into it. And maybe if Aspire had it right now, there's a chance he would slide into them. There's a chance he would walk up into them whenever they rotate to the red a little bit. But Bob has denied that area. He can't go there. So that's why we see him rotate around this way. And what else he's going to do is another point about Bob that I didn't actually mention is he can charge off Bob, right? And this increases the uptime on the railgun, which increases the value of Sojourn. Disruptor shot down again. That's more of a fire and forget one where you just place it on the enemy, but that's the best one you can do. Just drop that on cooldown. He's gonna get his overclock, which stops the downtime, right? Obviously. And he's gonna go in again. This is the effective range right now. He was able to be aggressive, kill Chorong, who critically had the beat. If he doesn't get that kill, Toronto could turn this fight and call it a day. So this to me is like almost ideal looking Sojourn versus Ashe in a way. It sucks that Heesu was dead before the fight started, so you couldn't get the more of it. But this is why you play Sojourn versus why you play Ashe to an extent. Heesu wasn't able to control the engage because he wasn't alive, so it takes away that core part of Ashe. But that's a good look at why Sojourn is better in some cases. So overall, for these two characters, I would like to say that Ashe is more consistent, right? Lethal right away, able to get out the shots, no conditions, and is able to control the engagements better with Dynamite, and is able to output damage better, but is also more vulnerable to diving, to Junker Queens being on top of her, and is less dynamic when it comes to flanking, finding angles, and having more opportunity, right? Ashe needs longer to get the kills. Sojourn just needs a few pixels. That's where Ashe struggles. Whereas Sojourn packs more punch because you get the one shot, and it can more effortlessly change the tide of a fight because you need less opportunity to get the same kill, and is able to set herself up better to get that opportunity from sliding out of danger, sliding into danger, just making it harder to lock down in general. However, it comes at the cost of having less uptime on your one shot, on your core damage, and requires more individual mechanics to get value fight to fight, right? Dynamite, not too hard to hit, right? Not too skill intensive. You have to hit your shots on Sojourn or you're not going to get as much value. Now, of course, it's Overwatch League, so how you can say, oh, well, the Ashe will always hit the shots too, and the Sojourns will always hit them, so Sojourn should be better because she hits her shots and her shots are better. No, whenever it comes to this level, though, now I'm not speaking from experience, right? I'm not an OWL player, but you minimize error, right? It always comes down to minimizing error. If you're able to get more value and get it easier, that character is normally better. The difference here is the value is not the same. It's not the same value. It's not the same kills. So that's why there is difference here, despite Sojourn relying more on mechanics. Because if you play Sojourn, peak Sojourn and make no mistakes, I can't talk right now, and make no mistakes, you are a better character. That's how it works. Peak Overwatch, Sojourn should be better because of the one shot, and because you don't need long to get your kills. But that's the difference. So, which is better, right? This whole thing comes down to which is better. And of course, the answer is it depends, right? On Dorado, where we saw Heesu play peak Ashe in this meta, Ashe should be better there because you don't have to worry about being invulnerable. You have perfect chokes to set up your dynamites. So places like that, where it's hard for the Genji to get onto you, it's hard for the Junker Queen to get onto you, you don't care about your lack of vulnerability, or you don't care that you are vulnerable, that you are more vulnerable than the Sojourn, Ashe is probably better. However, maps like New Queen Street, we even see Heesu playing the Sojourn. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the flank angles and the angles that Sojourn is able to take with the power slide, being able to get away from pressure, makes her more valuable in those situations. So basically, it's all about the geometry of the maps, things like that. And it also comes down to player preference. Heesu's a very good Sojourn. He's also a very good Ashe. I think, now this might be like fraudulent, but Heesu is more of a thinking hit scan, to me, is what it seems like. He knows his stuff. That's why he was on Reaper, right? In the Zarya meta, back in stage 1. He was the Reaper. He wasn't the Sojourn. We were putting Aldo on Sojourn. Or on Soldier, rather. That's why he prefers the Ashe, whereas Aspire, you have to click those heads. It also comes down to team play. Toronto has been able to really play those engagements, set those engagements very well with the help of the Dynamite. Would a team like Vancouver be able to play that same way? It's harder to tell. Would a team like Atlanta be able to play the same way? They like Kai Sojourn. It is hard to tell, right? So I don't know. That's not the answer you're looking for, right? You're not looking for, oh, it depends. But that's the truth. That is the truth. You can figure out for yourself which maps you prefer it on, but there is definitely reasonings for both, and there are definitely different situations where each are better. I'm going to go with, if you can play Ashe somewhere, I think it is better, right? Like that Heesu Dorado situation. If your team coordination is good, which is what this meta is all about, I think Ashe should be better when you should play her on the Dorados, maps like that, is what I'm going to go with. But if you're a team that needs to be carried, like Hangzhou Spark and Shy, and you need your Sojourn to get all your kills, by all means, Sojourn is the better pick. For Atlanta Reign, for example, probably just run Kai on Sojourn. Things like that. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. I haven't really made a video like this before. Like this video if you like it, subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content. Thank you so much for watching and have yourself a good one. Deuces.